Apologies everyone, we did have a tornado warning that has been issued for western portions of Coleman County. Thankfully the graphics are functioning properly now. Here's the community of Fisk. Here's Highway 67. You see the tornado warning does include Highway 67 south of Novice. Here's the community of Coleman. That is where you have a tornado warning in effect. This is that same thunderstorm that produced a funnel cloud to the south of Abilene. For a while, the storm was not looking terribly powerful on radar. Unfortunately, we have seen this storm revamp in intensity. Looking at the winds inside of the thunderstorm, green is winds going towards the radar at Dyess Air Force Base, and red is winds going away from the radar. You have that counterclockwise circulation. It appears to be just between Talpa and Valera in central portions of Coleman County. So Talpa, Valera, just to the west of the city of Coleman, just to the west of the community of Santa Ana. Need you to take your tornado safety precautions. That's the lowest floor. Away from windows, you want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. It is 9:42 on this Thursday evening, so we're likely not going to receive confirmation given the fact that it's at night. Can't see the thunderstorm, on top of the fact that it is producing a lot of rain. Makes the storm really difficult to see. This storm kind of merged with the storm earlier that confirmed produced funnel clouds in portions of Taylor County. And you can see this area that almost makes a little C shape right along Highway 67. That's where you have the tornado warning. City of Coleman, City of Novice, down towards Fisk, Goldabusk, you are not included in the tornado warning. There is a severe thunderstorm warning, and National Weather Service, let me get you the latest information, has this warning in effect for Coleman County for quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Would not be shocked if it was producing hail even larger than that. We've seen with this thunderstorm a history of producing some really big hail. Looking at the hail estimates from radar, it's estimating about walnut-sized hail, so it's probably underestimating a little bit. We've seen this particular radar product not be the best in terms of predicting hail sizes, so closer towards Novice, kind of between Novice and Highway 67, you're likely seeing hail even larger than that, closer to quarter-sized. So we are currently in Fox West Texas live at 9. We've transitioned to full tornado coverage. I do want to give a quick overview of what's going on across the Fox West Texas viewing area. Line of showers and thunderstorms is moving from west to east across our viewing area. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that's just to the west of the city of San Angelo. It goes from Mertzen, that's in Erie County, towards Sterling City, Robert Lee. It's kind of just to the west of the city of San Angelo, maybe clipping kind of the western and northern portions of Loop 306. It is knocking on the door for you in Water Valley, you in Grape Creek, you in Carlsbad and Tom Green County. Once this line of storms passes your area, so western Sterling County, I'm talking to you, Reagan County, I'm talking to you. Once this line of storms passes your area, cold front's going to move through. Your threat of severe weather is over. Unfortunately though, ahead of that line of storms, we're seeing a individual discrete thunderstorm. It's able to really tap into the environment and access all the instability. You really feel the humid air, warm humid air from the Gulf, and as that funnels into the Concho Valley and the Big Country, that's where you start to see that tornado threat. And it looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued. That's in effect for Concho County, McCulloch County, and Runnels County. That severe thunderstorm warning's in effect for the next hour until 10:45 this evening. National Weather Service issuing that for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So we've had 2 tornado warnings so far this evening, one for Taylor and Runnels County. Thankfully, no confirmation of any damage or any sort of tornado with that warning. And now a second tornado warning with this individual discrete isolated thunderstorm ahead of the main line. And I think until that line of storms catches up with this discrete thunderstorm, we'll likely see at least some threat for tornadoes. Right now, the main threat is for western and central portions of Coleman County, south of Novice, west of the community of Coleman, west of the city of Coleman, to the west of Santa Ana along 67. Valera really wants you to be in that tornado safe place. Talpa as well. You're really seeing the heavy rain with this. Again, the green is winds moving towards the radar. Red is winds moving away from the radar. See those bright pink colors to the northeast of Talpa? That is likely some gusty straight line winds. Radar is sampling some of those winds. We'll click right on the darkest colors, about 60 miles an hour, maybe even up to 70 miles an hour with this thunderstorm. So it's, in addition to the circulation threat, in addition to the tornado threat, is also producing some very gusty winds. Not saying this to frighten anyone in Coleman County or anyone across West Texas. It is a powerful thunderstorm though, and we always want to respect the tornado warning. We always want to respect the threat for severe weather. So just want you to head inside that tornado safe place. It's just before 9:45. So for the next 30 minutes, we'll have this tornado warning in effect until 10:15 p.m. This is the latest from the National Weather Service. It's in northwestern Coleman County, includes Highway 67 with radar indicated rotation. And National Weather Service has this potentially tornado producing thunderstorm moving southeast at 20 miles an hour. So it's about the speed you would go inside a school zone. I do want to put a track on this thunderstorm. It's moving southeast at 20 miles an hour, so it's a relatively slow moving thunderstorm. But if we put a track on this thunderstorm, we'll go from just to the south of Talpa towards Coleman, towards Goldabusk, we'll go towards Goldabusk and go towards McCulloch County. Give folks an idea of how fast this thunderstorm is traveling here in just a second. Once this graphic loads, it looks like the graphic is loading a little slowly. Do apologize for the technical difficulties getting a lot of information at one time, but western Coleman County really wants you to be in that tornado safe place. Near the community of Fisk, that's just outside the tornado warning polygon at 10:07 p.m. 10:33, community of Goldbusk. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Near Rockwood at 10:50. 10:57 for you in Waldrop, and 11:06 for Riverbend Ranch. So for those of you who may just now be joining us, we are doing live severe weather coverage for a tornado warning that has just been issued for
The National Weather Service in San Angelo has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Coleman County in west central Texas, northwestern McCulloch County in west central Texas, southeastern Runnels County in west central Texas, northeastern Concho County in west central Texas, until 10:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 9:44 p.m. Central Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm was located 8 miles southwest of Talpa, moving southeast at 20 miles an hour. Hazard, 60 miles an hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. Source, radar indicated. Impact, hail damage to vehicles is expected. Expect wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. This severe thunderstorm will be near Ivy Reservoir near Concho Park Marina and leaving around 9:50 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Stacy around 10:10 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Other locations impacted by the severe thunderstorm include Mizell, the intersection of Ranch Road 1929 and Ranch Road 2134, and US 283 near the McCulloch-Coleman County line. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building.
necessarily getting the best data in the lowest part of the thunderstorm. Still want you in that tornado safe place because this storm is definitely producing the very gusty winds, especially just to the north of Highway 67, northeast of the community of Talpa. And again, I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, folks in Talpa. I definitely want you in that tornado safe place. But yeah, those winds could potentially be getting over 60 miles an hour. A thunderstorm is considered severe when it produces winds greater than 57 miles an hour. So we're definitely seeing those severe winds with this thunderstorm. And a new tornado warning has just been released, and they've kind of clipped out the far western portions of Coleman County. This is the absolute latest from the National Weather Service. Valera, you are still included in this tornado warning until 10:15. Talpa, you are no longer included in the tornado warning. You are still included in the severe thunderstorm warning. It's kind of hard to see exactly where the red polygon ends, but you see that flashing red line just to the east of Talpa. So Talpa, you're no longer included in the tornado warning. You are still included in a severe thunderstorm warning. So I would just stay inside in Talpa until this storm passes. Tornado threat right now for Valera until 10:15 p.m. No confirmation as of yet from the National Weather Service. Still want you in that tornado safe place until 10:15 p.m. And latest from the Weather Service has the strongest rotation near Glen Cove. As we kind of zoom in, near Glen Cove, right around Highway 67. We're talking near Valera, east of Talpa. Green is winds going towards the radar. Red is winds away from the radar. And whenever, as I've mentioned, these storms have a tendency to cycle up and down in intensity, I definitely am concerned with that tornado potential. The hail potential, not as concerning. It doesn't look to be much of a hail producer at this point, but you can see those very bright reds. Here's Highway 153. That's likely where you have your strongest winds inside the thunderstorm, and also severe thunderstorm warnings associated with the storm as well. I want to emphasize for folks watching us from the Concho Valley, no tornado warnings in effect for the Concho Valley. The one tornado warnings for Coleman County, which is kind of right on the border of the Concho Valley and the Big Country. But we are seeing that severe thunderstorm warning to the west of the city of San Angelo. It's kind of southeast of Sterling City, west of you and Robert Lee, and to the north of the community of Mertzen. Some strong storms still ongoing across the Concho Valley right now. It looks like the strongest winds may be to the north of the city of San Angelo. If we sample some of those winds kind of between Grape Creek and Robert Lee, it looks like maybe the strongest winds with this thunderstorm may be kind of to the southwest of Robert Lee. Radar is sampling some of those winds may be up to 53 miles an hour. So severe thunderstorm warning, but you definitely see those bright greens in Coke County. So if you live southwest of Robert Lee and to the northwest of San Angelo, I would just recommend waiting inside until this thunderstorm passes. You see the bright reds, it is dumping a lot of rain, and that rain's gonna eventually be making its way towards the city of San Angelo. So multiple different warnings in effect right now. No warnings north of Coleman. Just some nice rain ongoing. Snyder, Colorado City, Fisher County towards Abilene, towards Callahan County. Nothing severe at this point. The furthest north severe thunderstorm warning is for Coke County. And the ongoing tornado warning for the next 10 minutes. It's currently 9:55 on this Thursday evening. So Fox West Texas Live at 9 about to end. For those of you who may just now be joining us, we are doing live severe weather coverage for a tornado warning in central and northwestern portions of Coleman County. Valera really wants you to be in that tornado safe place for at least the next 20 minutes. It's currently 9:55. Most recent radar scans, it's not looking to show as concentrated strong winds as we were seeing just a little while ago. Earlier, we were seeing the bright pinks on radar. That's indicative of really strong winds. Now it's more of a bright red, and you notice that color scale on the top of your screen. The bright pinks are kind of some of the stronger winds radar can see. And once you get into that brighter reds, it's still definitely concerning. It's still severe, and it could definitely tighten up in intensity. But earlier we were sampling those winds close to 70. Now it's a little closer to 50 miles an hour. So hopefully giving folks in western Coleman County near Valera a little bit of some peace of mind. It's definitely still cause for concern, especially if you live southwest of the city of Coleman. Again, here's Highway 67, here is Highway 84. Kind of west of that intersection, here's the community of Santa Ana. Santa Ana, you're currently not under a tornado warning. You do have a severe thunderstorm warning in Santa Ana, and you're honestly not even seeing rain at this point in Santa Ana. You see a little bit of rain towards the city of Coleman. You're eventually going to be seeing the rain, and you are included in that severe thunderstorm warning. I believe that is also until 10:30 p.m. this evening. So Coleman County, kind of more of Coleman County included in a severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30 p.m. So you have to remember when you have tornado warnings, tornadoes are small and counties are large, so it's only a small portion of the county actively seeing that tornado threat. Winds inside the thunderstorm, definitely still strong at this point. You definitely still have the bright reds close to the bright green, so you're seeing some broad rotation. Per the radar at Dyess Air Force Base, you see that line coming from the north. That's the radar scanning through the atmosphere. Green, those are winds moving towards the radar. Red is winds moving away from the radar. So at this point, you have broad and counterclockwise rotation, and that is where you could potentially have a tornado. So Valera, I do still want you in that tornado safe place, hopefully providing you a little bit of peace of mind knowing it's not as strong as it looked maybe 10 or 15 minutes ago. It is strong nonetheless. Southwest of you in Coleman, here's Highway 206, and we'll see if the National Weather Service extends the tornado warning. We still have about 15 minutes left of this tornado warning in central portions of Coleman County. But you see this area where it's kind of pushing ahead of the rest of the line. That could potentially be where you have some very strong winds entering now into Valera. And you see that as well in our wind data, stretching from just to the east of Talpa, just kind of to the northeast of Talpa, just to the north of Highway 67, some strong outbound winds, those are what we call winds going away from the radar, with that kind of darker red color. So a powerful thunderstorm ongoing across Coleman County. Whenever you have a line of thunderstorms, that often reduces the risk of a tornado, so I'm not as concerned for western portions of the Concho Valley and the Big Country. Not to say it's impossible. We're definitely keeping a very close eye on it, but the biggest concern is with these discrete, isolated thunderstorms out ahead of the main line, and the National Weather Service earlier saw that evidence of rotation in Taylor and Runnels County. That storm is slowly but surely moving kind of to the east, southeast, and eventually going to be moving towards southern portions of Coleman County. And we'll have to see how long it takes that main line of storms to catch up with this individual storm. This storm's moving slow. That line out to the west is moving pretty quick. So I hopefully the storm will catch up sooner rather than later, assuming the storm holds together for a little while longer. But Doyle, east of Paint Rock in Concho County, southeast of Ballinger and Runnels County. Want to emphasize you're hearing some loud thunder and winters right now with that little storm. Again, nothing severe to the north of this tornado warning in Coleman County, nothing north of Coke County, nothing north of Coleman County that's severe. You're definitely hearing the rain though. Earlier on our Abilene Sky Tracker, we really saw the rain coming down. Nothing severe for you in Abilene. You're just hearing the heavy rain, hearing the thunder down towards Tuscola, west towards Nolan County on I-20. Rain's really coming down. I know folks may be living towards Snyder, towards Colorado City. And you'll notice that activity is south of Aspermont and south of Haskell. That's because a cold front's pushing from north to south. So if you live north of I-20, there's really not much of a severe weather concern because as that cold front pushes through the area, that's really going to serve to eliminate that severe weather threat. And we've just received notification that we are on all of our different streaming platforms. So if you're watching us from Valera, if you're watching us from western portions of Coleman County, and you haven't got to your tornado safe place, you can go ahead and go in there and you can watch us live on the Fox West Texas mobile app, Facebook, YouTube, all of our different streaming and digital platforms. You can also watch us on Fox West Texas Plus. Maybe you don't have cable or traditional TV. We're also on streaming platforms to help reach not just the traditional TV audience, but also the digital and streaming audience. It is just after 10 p.m. We are continuing with severe weather coverage for a tornado warning in western portions of Coleman County. Tristan, Desmond, are we receiving any sort of reports? Okay, at this point, we have not received any reports. Thank you for that, Desmond. Still, the powerful winds, especially on the northeast side of Talpa towards Valera. I want to zoom in on this tornado warning. Okay, we have received reports of power lines down in Sterling County from the newsroom. You see that line of showers and thunderstorms I mentioned just a second ago. They don't really carry much of a tornado risk. It's definitely there. It's just not quite zero. And we've received reports of down power lines in Sterling County. So the National Weather Service gonna go out and survey, see if it was a tornado that caused it or straight line winds. It could have been either or. It doesn't necessarily mean a tornado happens if you have those downed power lines. But just know powerful winds eventually as it moves towards the city of San Angelo. And we have just received a severe thunderstorm warning. City of San Angelo is included. Threats of hail an inch in diameter and 70-mile-an-hour winds as it moves off to the southeast. I want to give some timing for folks with this thunderstorm as it eventually is going to move towards the city of San Angelo. National Weather Service, again, warning for up to 70-mile-an-hour winds. So it hasn't quite arrived in San Angelo. If you have things that are outside in San Angelo, I would recommend bringing those inside, things that maybe could be blown around like pots or other outdoor items, because 70-mile-an-hour winds can definitely do some damage. But the National Weather Service has this moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. So I'm going to put a storm tracker on this storm. Will go from Erie County up towards Coke County and track it towards Concho County. Should arrive at San Angelo at 10:33 p.m. So in the next half hour. So you do have a little bit of time to go seek some shelter in San Angelo. Go move around anything you might need to move around. Near Grape Creek at 10:15, so in about 10 minutes or so, it'll arrive for you in Grape Creek. Near Miles at 10:40, so we're talking far southwestern Runnels County. Near Christoval, right before 11 p.m., 10:56, and 11:09 for you in Paint Rock. Keep in mind, these are just estimates by radar, so just know that's kind of the general time frame. It is moving relatively slowly at 30 miles an hour. Compare that to the tornado warning in Coleman, but that is National Weather Service has warned for up to 70 miles an hour wind gusts, and you can really see that green shaded area on radar. Those are your powerful winds, potentially up to 70 miles an hour. Green is winds going towards the radar, so those are winds going to the east, southeast towards San Angelo Mathis Airport. Sampling some of those winds inside the thunderstorm from the San Angelo radar site. We've had those confirmation of damage in Sterling County. Radar may be underestimating a little bit, about 40 to 50 miles an hour. That warning, though, from the Weather Service is warning for up to 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and it could potentially strengthen a little bit as it approaches San Angelo. So again, if you live in Coke, Erie, Sterling, or Tom Green County, just want you to wait out until this line of thunderstorms passes you. Want to emphasize, once the line passes, we are done with severe weather threats. For the night, we might see a little bit of storm redevelopment, but I think the severe threat really should be over once that line passes through. Tornado warning still in effect for Coleman County for the next 9 minutes. It's currently 10:06 p.m. Valera still wants you to be in that tornado safe place for the next little while until 10:15 p.m. You still see that kind of reverse C shape just kind of to the east of Valera. Winds inside the thunderstorm at this point looking fairly disorganized. So again, we'll continue to watch it, continue to keep an eye on it for the next 10 minutes or so. I'm going to pan the radar back to the west. Still have those powerful winds northeast of Talpa, northwest of Valera, kind of towards the north of Highway 67. We'll have to see if any damage reports come through the National Weather Service. And they have partially canceled the severe thunderstorm watch. Let me show you that as well, since we have folks tuning in from a lot of the area. So Jones County, Fisher County, and Fisher, Jones, and Shackelford County have all been removed from the severe thunderstorm watch. That's because that cold front is moving in from the north. Taylor County, you're still included. San Angelo, you are still included. And I believe the severe thunderstorm watch goes into effect until 11 p.m. Notice some more counties have been added in our viewing area. Kimball, Sutton counties, and areas north of San Angelo you originally weren't included. You are now included in that severe thunderstorm watch until 11 p.m. So if you live north of I-20, the severe threat for you is done for tonight. South of I-20, we still have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the next hour. And given the way things are shaping up, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a bit of an extension. As I mentioned earlier in our 9 p.m. newscast, I think potentially the latest storms could be leaving our area maybe about a little after midnight, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, I think is a worst case scenario. For now, our immediate attention's on this tornado warning for western portions of Coleman County. Here's Novice, here's Highway 84, here's Highway 67, kind of in the western, central, up to northwestern portions of Coleman County. Seeing lots of heavy rain at this point. We had this thunderstorm that initially formed towards Abilene, and it looks like the main line of storms is starting to catch up with this alone discrete thunderstorm. And once these storms kind of merge, I think that will greatly diminish the tornado threat. That hasn't quite happened yet. So west of Coleman, really still need you to be in that tornado safe place. What that means for you, lowest floor away from windows. You can tune in with Fox West Texas on all of our different digital and streaming platforms. We'll continue to keep you up to date. Nothing severe though for Callahan County, for Eastland County, for Cross Plains. Eventually this main line of storms that we're tracking a little closer towards San Angelo, that'll eventually move east towards the Dallas area, and that might affect you in Eastland County and Eastland and Stevens County. You see that flashing yellow box, that's the old severe thunderstorm warning that's about to expire. Sorry, I thought I was about to sneeze. Thankfully, did not need to sneeze. That's why I was doing that. I didn't want to blow everyone's ears out. But we do still have a tornado warning in effect for western portions of Coleman County until 10:15 this evening. So I want you to continue to be in that tornado safe place. Receiving lots of notifications for that severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Tom Green County. If you're watching us from the city of San Angelo, if you're watching us from Tom Green County, no, there is no imminent tornado threat. We have a line of storms that is moving from northwest to southeast into the city of San Angelo. It's expected to arrive near San Angelo at about 10:30 this evening. Here's Loop 306, and you notice that area that's kind of bowing outward towards San Angelo. That is where you likely have some of the strongest winds, and some of those winds could potentially be up to 70 miles an hour for you in Grape Creek. And Grape Creek's a fairly well-populated area, as you know, residents of Tom Green County. So hopefully no damage occurs there. If you do live San Angelo, Harriet, towards Wall, south towards Cristoval. And unfortunately, Cristoval received damage earlier this week when we had baseball-sized hail move through Tom Green County. Hopefully no more damage. Hopefully the storm remains tame as it approaches Tom Green County. Main focus is for Coleman County, and if this seems repetitive, we're repeating the information because a lot of people will maybe tune in a little bit later. They might miss bits of information. A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for central portions of Coleman County. Also just had a flash flood warning issued for portions of Coleman County. That's because this storm has dumped a lot of rain. We in West Texas know it doesn't take a whole lot of rain to lead to those flash flooding concerns. So if you live in portions of Coleman County, or honestly just anywhere in West Texas, remember you want to turn around, don't drown, to help keep yourself safe from families. And even after the tornado threat passes, and even after the storm passes, that can definitely still be a concern. We know in San Angelo, after a storm passes, it usually takes at least a few days before the flooding starts to recede, before those high water areas start to recede across the region. So again, not saying this to frighten anyone, but I am giving you a heads up about that potential threat. Again, the warning's still in effect west of Coleman. At this point, I think it's mostly a straight line wind threat, but there's definitely still is that tornado threat. That's why the warning's in effect. And even if there is no tornado in Coleman County, which hopefully there isn't, I definitely see evidence of straight line damaging winds near Talpa, near Valera. And it's kind of on the leading edge of that storm in Coleman County where I'm most concerned about that damaging wind threat. That's why the National Weather Service extended that severe thunderstorm warning that goes right up to the border with Brown County. Here's Brownwood, here's May, here's Owens, here's Grosvenor, here's Thrifty, here's Banks. The storm is west of you at this point. You are still included in that watch until 11, and you have those warnings just to the west of you. So I definitely want you paying attention to that forecast in Brown County. I'm continuing to monitor the storm and also continuing to monitor the big area of storms as that cold front sags south. That's really been the big weather story for the Concho Valley and the big country. It's fired up storms. That's what's causing the severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Tom Green County. And really there are two big areas of concern across our area. We have this area going from Erie County, Sterling County, Coke County, moving towards Concho County. That is kind of the southern flank of the line of storms. That certainly has severe potential. We've had reports of power lines down in Sterling County, so very strong winds. And then this storm out ahead of the main line that produced funnel clouds earlier in Taylor County. Now it's moving through Coleman County. In effect for the next minute or so. At this point, no indication from the National Weather Service that they're going to continue that tornado warning. We'll stick with it. We'll see maybe if they end up extending the warning, as I've mentioned before. These types of thunderstorms, they have a tendency to cycle up and cycle back down in intensity. So it may be cycling down at this point, not to say it can't just cycle right back up again. So Coleman County, especially western portions of Coleman County, you who are in, and the tornado warning has been allowed to expire for Coleman County. You do still have several severe thunderstorm warnings and a flash flood warning in effect. So Desmond, I think we'll be able to send it back to regularly scheduled programming. I do just want to give people a quick overview with what's going on, and we'll continue to keep you up to date online and on social media. Severe thunderstorm warning that is approaching the city of San Angelo, that is approaching Grape Creek right now, is capable of those 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. and you're in the severe thunderstorm warning until 11 p.m. And that's where those bright green colors are. So Grape Creek, San Angelo, no tornado threat, a very gusty straight line wind threat though until 7 p.m. So just want you to stay inside until the storm passes you in San Angelo. And the previously tornado warned storm, that's been allowed to be canceled. Still want you just staying inside, probably until the main line of storms just to your west passes you. So quick overview, we have two main areas of concern, one near San Angelo, one closer towards Coleman. Severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 11 p.m. It's currently just after 10:15. Wouldn't be shocked if we ended up seeing an extension past midnight. Of course, we'll continue to keep an eye on things. Hope you all stay safe the rest of your evening, and thank you for tuning in. For now, back to regularly scheduled programming.